All right, so the next fiction signpost that we're going to look at is again and again. So in your notebook, in one of those squares, you're going to write down again and again. Again and again. Okay. Any one of those boxes will work. We'll end up filling up all 6 of them. So again and again on page 12 next to your contrasts and contradictions. Okay. It's not gonna let me share. Why is it not letting me share? There it goes. Okay. All right. So what you'll notice about this one is that there's words or objects or images that repeat themselves again and again and over time. It holds a deeper meaning. So we talked about when we have a fiction signpost, it's a place that you stop and you ask yourself why. So the question here that says when you notice this, ask yourself, why does this keep showing up over and over again? There has to be some sort of deeper meaning on why the author did that. So we're going to take a couple of examples. I just want you to watch them, and then we'll talk about it when it is over. All right. So when we think about destiny, I'm going to go ahead and write this down. Destiny is about the clocks and hit by a bus. So go ahead and write that down in your notebook as well. But there was something like, I want you to think about, why would the author have had that happen so many times? To have those clocks, the alarms go off, and then have multiple of the same person. Like, what do you think the point and the purpose of that was? So I want you to think about that. If you have an answer, just you can say it out loud to yourself, or you can write it down somewhere, because I'm going to talk about it here in just a second. So why do you think the author did that? Because again, when you come to a signpost, you want to stop and ask yourself why. And when you ask yourself why, you want to make sure that you kind of try to answer that. All right, so write down destiny, clocks, hit by a bus. This is really just a reminder as to what that was, so you can kind of refresh your memory as we kind of go back through it. All right, so destiny, the word destiny is just destined to happen. And so every single time that the guy kept getting up from the alarm, and then he'd see himself get hit by a bus again, and he tried to stop it, he could never stop it. But the one thing that allowed him to stop it is that he got rid of that time aspect. He was so fixated on his watch and what time it was that he wasn't really enjoying the scenery around him. And so at the very end, where he's like looking at the sun, it's gorgeous, that kind of thing, he kind of takes it in. He's like, okay, so I have to look at my surroundings and not be so fixated on time. So I feel like that's why the author did the whole again and again with the alarms and the clocks and all that kind of stuff. All right. The next one, I can figure this out. Here we go. We'll just do one more. We're going to look at Forrest Gump. Run, Forrest, run. Some of you may have seen this, some of you may not have. So we're just going to watch this real quick. All right, so I don't know if you guys have seen that movie before, but Run, Forrest, Run, with that whole thing, like there's another signpost there. It kind of goes back to our contrast and contradictions, because he was in those braces. You would think, oh, he can't run. Why would they be saying that? So go ahead and write this down. Forrest Gump, Run, Forrest, Run. But the little girl, her name's Jenny, she just kept saying, run, Forrest, run. And to us watching it, if we haven't never seen it before, like, he can't run. This is kind of silly. But the author does that because of this whole breakthrough that he actually could run. So it has that again and again. And this one, again, had the contrast and contradiction as well because he had those braces on. But then he was able to run. So it's kind of a contrast and contradiction there. All right, there are other ones, but we're going to go ahead and just kind of stop with those. Just a reminder, you also, on page 10, have notes for fiction signposts. So again, we just did contrasts and contradictions, and then we also did again and again. And so it'll just show you when you notice something, and then you need to stop and ask yourself these questions. And again, when you stop and ask yourself a question, I want you to kind of think through the answer. It's just really important as a reader to stop yourselves when you see a fiction signpost and to answer those questions, because it's going to help you as a reader to understand the text better. All right, we're going to be done for that. We'll do some more later.